I'm saying the wrong word. Okay. Shh. All right, so rectangles are a skill that was one of the first areas that you learned when you all first started learning about area a few years ago. So area, it's a surface measurement. So remember when we were talking about area of circles, and we were talking about the difference between circumference and area. Circumference was that distance that just went around the circle. It didn't cover anything on the inside. And then we talked about area, how area covers something. So area is that surface measurement. So like if I drew a circle, area covers that circle. If I draw a rectangle, area covers that surface. If I draw a triangle, area covers that surface. So area is just that whole thing, okay? Where circumference, perimeter is just the outside. Area covers the surface. Now, they use a different formula than I was taught for area. They say that area is base times height. It says where B is the length of the base and H is the length of the height. I was taught that area, and this is another option you can use, is length times width. Yeah. Okay, so this thing just says base times height. You will most likely hear me say length times width because that's what I was used to. So the length of the rectangle times the width of the rectangle is the area. Okay? Now, we talked about this next part last week as well. When we find the area of something, what is always on our label? Square. So we talked last week about knowing the difference between circumference and area. Circumference talked about being around something. Area talked about like the square inches or the square centimeters or the square meters. So area is measured in square units. And when we write our answers, like inches times inches would be inches with a little squared on it. Or feet times feet is feet squared. Or meters times meters is meters squared. So anytime that you find area, you need to label your answer. And area will always be with the label square. Or if you want to write it out in a word, you would write square inches or square feet. Okay, but that, like if somebody just gave you a number and they're like, hey guys, this is 20 square feet. You should know, okay, they said square feet. I know that's the area of that figure. Okay? All right, so we're going to move into some problems down here. You can use your calculator. So it says practice using the formula for area of a rectangle to solve the problem below. So it gives me a rectangle, and I know that the formula for area of a rectangle is either length times width or base times height. Like I said, I like length times width. And here's my question. Does it matter which number you multiply first by the other number? No. Because remember at the beginning of the year, we talked about how the multiplication is commutative. So like, for example, what's 2 times 5? What's 5 times 2? So it doesn't matter the order you multiply in, it's still the same answer. So it doesn't matter if you mix up length and width. So length is the longer side typically, or the horizontal side. So 8.6 times the width, which is 3. And then just use your calculator. 8.6 times 3 is 25.8. And then what would I put on that 25.8?
Centimeters squared.
Centimeters squared. Yeah. So I said that this was the length, this was the width. But like I said, if you mix them up, it's really not a big deal. Okay, the next one, number 2, is got fractions. That's okay. You've got options. And I'm hoping as 7th graders, we know what decimals these are. 2 1/4, 2 1/4. It's 2.25. So if you want to convert that to 2.25, nothing wrong with that. 1.5. So if that makes you feel better to do decimals instead of fractions, go for it. Okay, so I know that area of a rectangle is length times width. So I'm going to take 2.25 and multiply it by 1.5. Since this one's a terminating decimal, we'll use them all. So terminating decimal means that it ends. It doesn't fill up the whole screen. So we'll use our calculator. And we do get, like Shayna said, 3.375. And then what would my label be? Feet squared. All right. Before we move on to the next one, we'll just put it right here. I want you to find the area of this rectangle. And we'll just call this one meters. So do that black one. Put it anywhere on your paper, Raymond. All right, so area is a length times width. So I'm going to take 20 times 12, and all the people got 240 meters squared. 240 meters squared. Are there any questions about finding area of a rectangle? All right, we're going to apply that a little bit here. So number 3 says 2 walls. 2 walls of a room are being painted. Each wall measures 16 feet by 8.5 feet. How many square feet will be painted? So remember, always draw a picture if there's no picture. So here's 1 wall, here's 2 walls. Okay? It says that each wall is 16 feet by 8.5 feet. So there's both my walls. Both walls are 16 feet by 8.5 feet. How many square feet will be painted? Oh my gosh, it didn't tell me if I'm supposed to find area or perimeter or circumference, or did it? What did it tell you to find? Square feet. Square feet. And if I see the word square, that tells me I'm finding area. So when I see right here, this word, square feet, that tells me that I'm finding area. All right, so area of a rectangle, length times width. So I'm going to take length, 16 times 8.5. And what could you type in your calculator for 8.5? 8.5. So let's all right now multiply 16 times 8.5. All right, what do we get for the area? 136. Now, that 136, that's the area of this wall, and it's the area of this wall. So we would add them together, whoever said that. We would add them together because they're asking us to find how many square feet will be painted. Well, they're painting 2 walls, so 1 wall plus the other wall is how much they're painting. So 136 plus 136 is 272 feet squared. That's how much area they're painting. All right, so the next part is going to ask us to find the missing side. So I'm just going to throw some numbers out here for us, some easy numbers. So just let's print this down and listen for a second. Okay, look at me. Maybe I'm beautiful. Look at me. Okay, if I know that the area is 20 and one of the sides is 5, what must the other side be? 4. Because 5 times what makes 20? 4. Okay, here's another one. If I know that the area is 10, and I know that one side is 5. 2. The other side would be 2, because 5 times 2 is 10. Here's another one. If I know that the area is 40, and I know that one side is 8. 5, because 8 times 5 is 40. If I know that the area is 12, and I know that one side is 3, what's the other side? 4, because 3 times 4 is 12. All right, one more. If I know the area of the rectangle is 22, and I know that one side is 2. 11, because 2 times 11 is 22. Does this make sense? So area is multiplying. When you're finding a missing side, you're dividing. So they have down here writing formulas. So it says formulas can be manipulated to solve for missing information. So area equals base times height, or I like area equals length times width. You can find the width by taking the area divided by the length, or you can find the length by taking the area divided by the width, which is what we were just doing. One more for good measure. If I know the area is 48, and I know that one side is 12, what's the other side? 4, because 48 divided by 12 is 4. 12 times 4 is 48. Okay. All right, so let's look at this next one. It says, use your understanding of the area of rectangles to answer the questions below. So it says the area of a rectangle is 162 meters squared. One side is 18. What is the other side? So I know that area is length times width. And I know if I know that this area is 162, and I know that one side is 18, what's the other side? 9. So I can do 162 divided by 18. That's dividing. A fraction line is dividing. And I get 9. All right, we'll just throw this one at the bottom here. If I know that the area is 144, and I know this is 2. What's this area? So what's that length? All right, so give everybody a second to think about it. So those are just like the ones I was rambling off to you all. It's just with a picture now. Hold on. Give everybody a chance. We just get so excited, Miss Landers. Look at us. There he is.
Really excited.
All right, Chanel. 72. Because I take the area and I divide it by the side they give me. So I get that the other side is 72. All right, we're flipping over. All right, I want you all to try number 5. You want to try number 5. So if you don't like it because there's not a picture, draw a picture. But it's telling you a rectangular canvas covers 225 square inches. Oh, I just know the word square. That means that 225 must be my area. Hold on. Give me a minute. What, Andy? Yeah. It doesn't matter. All right, Eliana, what'd you get? Perfect. All right, so 225 square inches. So here's my little rectangle. It tells me the area is 225. It tells me it has a height of 18. What's that side? So 225 divided by 18. That's 12.5, and my label is. All right, so 6, and we're going to go into area of parallelograms. Area of parallelograms is like length times width, but they do call it base times height. Okay? So it still doesn't matter the order you multiply in, but there is one little tweak thing that we got to watch. So formula is base times height. So the dimensions of a parallelogram are referred to as base times height. What's the word parallel mean to you all? That they don't cross, they don't touch, they don't cross. So parallel lines, parallel lines don't cross because they're always moving in the same way. So like these are parallel, these are parallel, these are parallel, these are parallel. So parallel lines, if I know this top one, I know this bottom one because they're parallel, they're the same. All right, now, area equals base times height. So B is the length of the base. So the base, that word, is the bottom. And H is the height of the parallelogram, which makes a 90-degree angle with the base. Okay, so we're going to look at this first one here, number 7. There's 3 numbers here. There's 3 numbers here on this. So I've got to decipher which one is the base and which one is the height. Okay? Now the cool thing about parallelograms, are you ready? Is I know that if this is 12.2, guess what this is? 12.2. If I know that this is 10, guess what this is? 10. Now, and I want somebody to raise their hand and tell me what number would be the base of this parallelogram, Brian? 12.2. So this right here, this is the base. Now, when we're talking about height, we're talking about how tall something is. All right, so if I'm going to have Ethan stand up, if I'm going to measure Ethan,
I'm going to touch you, okay?
all right, so would I measure him like this, or would I measure him like this?
Stand up.
Standing straight up. So the height is straight up and down, not this one that's slanted. Okay? So,
Thank you.
so I would not use the 10. When you are measuring how tall somebody is, what their height is, you don't measure them like this or like this. You measure them straight up and down. So this 8 is going to be our height, because I measure a height straight up and down. You all understand that?
Yes.
That makes sense?
Yes.
Okay. So when I go to use my formula, I'm going to do base times height. So the base, 12.2 times the height, 8. So on my calculator, I multiply and I get 97.6, and that would be centimeters squared.
So we just leave out the 10?
Yeah, we just don't even need the 10. Okay, okay, so looking at number 8, if this is 6, then what's this? 6. Right? If this is 5, what's this? 5. Okay, somebody else besides Bryant, raise their hand. What is the base, Chevy? 6. And Timmy, what's the height? 2.5. So this one is our height, because remember, we measure somebody up and down. We don't measure them at a slant. So that's why this one right here, this one is the height. So I'm going to do base times height. So base is 6 times the height, which is 2.5. So I'm going to put 2.5.
15.
And I get 15. And that would be feet squared. All right, I'm going to let you all try one all on your own. Okay, I'm going to just put it down here.
Oh, I thought we were doing it.
I'll go back. Not like that. Not like that.
All right. So I want you all to find the area of that one at the bottom. Put your hands down. I want everybody right now to do it on their paper. We'll just make it inches. If they don't ever tell you, we'll just call it inches. It's literally 6 problems a week. It's gonna take you like 5 minutes.
Is that our homework?
Huh?
No.
All right, Chevy, what'd you get? 800. He's right. Look. This, I'm talking. This is the base because it's the bottom. This is the height because it's straight up and down. So area is base times height. So 40 times 20. So that's 800. And we're just going to call it inches squared since I didn't put a label.
Oh.
And I don't, remember Andy, I don't use the 25 because I don't measure somebody's height while they're standing sideways. I measure when they're straight up and down.
Yes.
And we still have 5 minutes. We have 5 minutes to, okay, 4 minutes to lunch now. But you all could probably knock out at least 1 or 4.
I agree. Yes.